Dear colleagues, ladies, gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you are enjoying your stay in Belém and found yesterday's panel discussions insightful. I am very pleased with the support you showed yesterday in your statements. Your contributions have demonstrated our collective strength and capability in fostering transparency and accountability. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Isma Yatum from SAI Indonesia, whose visionary leadership led to the founding of the SAI20. And here we are for the third time. This initiative has provided us with a robust platform to unite our efforts and amplify our impact. Additionally, I would like to thank the Controller and Auditor General of India, Mr. Murmu, for his instrumental role in consolidating SAI20 within our community. His dedication has ensured that SAI20 remains a cornerstone of our collaborative endeavors. This forum stands as an excellent venue for mutual knowledge sharing and collaboration. As we look towards the future and our ongoing efforts in climate finance and energy transition, it is essential to highlight a significant point mentioned by Dr. Thelma Krug yesterday. She emphasized that one of the most pressing needs for Supreme Audit Institutions is tracking the progress in the implementation of each country's nationally determined contributions, the NDC, which are updated every 5 years. By rigorously tracking and reporting on the progress of these contributions, we can ensure that our action align with the ambitious climate goals. Let us take this insight forward, prioritizing the monitoring and evaluation of our climate commitments as we work together towards a greener future. Additionally, we are keen of further consolidating the audit of poverty as a multidimensional phenomenon, as highlighted by Dr. Sabina Alkaya from Oxford University. The overarching objective regarding non-income dimensions of poverty is to promote integrated approaches to address poverty. We plan to continue advancing this discussion to ensure high quality, timely, and reliable data on multidimensional poverty. South Africa's example, as presented yesterday by Auditor General Maluleke, is particularly instructive. Their whole-of-government auditing model has enabled the identification of critical issues by viewing the entire government as a single ecosystem, one auditee and one auditor. By adopting this model, we can better address the complexities of poverty and climate change, ensuring a holistic and inclusive approach to sustainable development. Let us take these insights forward, prioritizing the monitoring and evaluation of our climate commitments and poverty reduction strategies as we work together towards a greener and more equitable future. Today, we start with Mr. Philip Hauser, who will provide us with a forward-looking perspective before we proceed to the presentation and adoption of the SAI20 Communique 2024, along with exploring synergies with INTOSAI and the Troika statements. Mr. Hauser, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you, Minister Burundantas, for your kind introduction. And you all for indulging me again in discussing how SAIs can help to accelerate and improve policy development for a sustainable future. Based on the discussions we had yesterday, I developed some reflections and some thoughts that may help us to guide future activities that you are developing, but also that we, civil society, is developing in order to accompany these nationally determined contributions which all target climate neutrality in line with the objectives of the Paris Agreement. A very brief word again on the E+ institutes. We are a think tank. We are financed by donations, and we have the objective as a think tank to help Brazil to develop and improve policies that help to align climate neutrality, competitiveness, inclusive economic growth, in order to position Brazil as an important, valuable member of a global community. We all know that Brazil has resources that are needed by the world for climate neutrality, but we also know that Brazil needs international investments and needs clients for its products. So that is the objective of the E+ Institute, to contribute to the development of such policies in dialogue with government, industry, academia, and civil society. I would also like to highlight that the E+ Institute has launched a proposal called the Belém Consensus in order to discuss how new standards and rules for trade can help us, that international trade really helps us to achieve climate neutrality and also leads to a race to the top when it comes to social and environmental criteria. Very important that E+ is just one think tank in a larger network. We call it International Network of Energy Transition Think Tanks. You will find here on the map our different partners in South Africa, in Mexico, in Indonesia, Korea, and maybe it's of interest to you to reach out to our partners in order to have another actor in civil society, think tank, academically, scientifically sound analysis that can help you to reflect on the policies in your respective countries or on the level of international cooperation. Now, yesterday we discussed a lot about policies and objectives, and the overall objective here is sustainable development. If we go back to the definition from the Brundtland report, sustainability is if we are capable to satisfy the necessities of present and future generations. So it is an intergenerational concept. We also talk a lot about sustainability being an equilibrium of financial, economic terms, environmental aspects, natural resources, and social necessities. But actually I would object to this second definition, because I don't believe that finance is at the same level of society and our natural resources. I would rather say that we need smart policies that allow us to shape an economy that works in favor of society while using in a sound way environmental resources to satisfy necessities today and in the future. And these smart policies, there is an academic and an experience, what we call environmental economics. There are instruments that we can use to design such smart policies. And we need to evaluate, we need to learn about them, we need to develop the methodologies, and we need to constantly evaluate and improve those policies. I wanted to share a very simple model with you so that we can all reflect on how we can better steer our economy towards sustainability. First of all, today we are in a situation where our economies are mainly driven by private sector decisions, and they evaluate projects according to profit and loss. If all actors act according to this principle, we have a liberal economics model but unfortunately we do not always satisfy all the social and environmental necessities. So what governments should be looking for is much more this other perspective of environmental and social value. How can we create value for our societies? How can we valorize our natural resources? And how can we avoid damage? Damage in terms of climate change, but also damage in terms of poverty. We have therefore two angles, and with that we can have a very simple model and identify 4 kinds of projects or 4 kinds of measures. The first one, I call it the penalty box. These are projects, these are measures that are detrimental for society, detrimental for the environment, and that are not profitable. Such projects should not be happening because it's not in the interest of investors, it's not in the interest of society. However, often they happen because people do not really know where they are, we lack the methodologies to analyze, or sometimes you even have subsidies to promote non-sustainable business models that would otherwise not be profitable. We also have a lot of unsustainable businesses. They are profitable, but on the cost of society. They use environmental goods, they exploit, and they do not share in a sufficient way with society. We could call them unsustainable. Finally, we also have proto-sustainable projects, projects that would be good, that should be taking place, but that they are not taking place because they are not profitable. We are speaking here about climate finance because we want to make those projects profitable in order to achieve what I call the E-square, where economics, environmental, and society converge. Projects that really create economic value for our societies. This is a bit the map that we have to work on with sound policies. What are these sound policies? The first one is we need methodologies to measure, manage, and consolidate these financial, social, and environmental perspectives. Without measuring, we cannot manage. And that's a very important message to the SAIs. You need to develop and potentially share among you the methodologies that allow you to evaluate policies, to evaluate projects, and really know where in these 4 dimensions you are situated. Once you know that, we have policies such as innovation and redesign so that we can convert unsustainable business models, unsustainable value chains into sustainability, taking climate neutrality, prosperity, and inclusive development into account. Next, we have the polluter pays principle. If there are projects, activities that are not sustainable, if we make pay for the CO2 emissions, if we also make pay for other environmental and social externalities, then they will gradually move into the penalty box. We can also have climate finance, we can have subsidies, we can have CO2 price abatement payments in order to move proto-sustainable projects into the realm of reality. And finally, we can combine these two, and then we have CO2 taxes or carbon trading systems, which on one hand penalize those that emit, and on the other hand reward those that reduce emissions. It's a very simple model about a very complex practice of environmental economics and environmental economic instruments, but they are all essential to steer our economies into the direction of climate neutrality and inclusive prosperity. So if we know that we have these elements, we need to work with regulations, we need to work with subsidies, taxes, cap and trade. What are the principles that we have to take into account? First of all, we need to understand that environmental policies adjust prices to align the private with the social and environmental optimum. We can use those instruments individually or in combination to shift the behavior of economic actors into direction of sustainability. However, we need to be aware that by doing these adjustments, we will redistribute financial resources and wealth. If I have a carbon tax, Somebody will have to pay for it, and I can then use those revenues. So we need to understand that by definition, environmental policies are also an instrument for redistributing wealth. And when we design environmental instruments, we always need to take into account how can we best redistribute wealth for the common good of our societies. Also, efficient policies optimize costs and benefits, promote equity inclusion. However, bad policies have a cost on society, an unnecessary cost, may be wasteful, regressive, and at worst even harmful. So not all policy with good intention will lead to good outcomes. It is therefore very important to have institutions that can evaluate and guide this into a better way. What are the criteria for such a better way? First of all, we need to look whether all measures and policies are compatible with climate neutrality. It is not enough to simply reduce emissions partially. We need to have policies that carry us all the way to the envisaged future. Second, we need to also look at competitiveness. It doesn't make sense to develop green business models that turn into green stranded assets because they are not competitive in the long run. We will have a global economy, and each country will have to contribute with its comparative advantages. Third point, look at the spillover that such projects have for your economy. Projects that produce, for example, hydrogen, they have an impact on the overall energy system. If they are designed in a way that maximize benefits, then they have a much larger worth for society. And fourth point, when we talk about cost of abatement, don't look at it in financial terms, look at it in economic terms. If we, for example, have projects that that lead to reforestation, that generates biodiversity, income for local communities, there are many other aspects that you should take into account. We can also talk about cost. A lot of people say, well, if we do this, this will be expensive. And what I would like to say is, look, we will face costs anyway. If we don't invest in mitigation, we will suffer impact. We will have to do adaptation. So it is up to policy to choose between these three dimensions. The more we invest in smart mitigation, the lower our impacts and the lower the need for adaptation. So again, we need well-designed policies that take mitigation and adaptation into account. We need to seek to do both. And we need to understand that investment has to happen today to avoid impacts in the future. So when we discuss financial budgeting of governments, we need to have an equilibrium between the financial debt today and the climate change liabilities for future generations. This just to illustrate what I said. Thelma Krug yesterday explained us about the cost of the 1.5 degrees, which are much lower, still substantial. We talk about 8% of GDP. But if we don't target the 1.5, we will have a cost of 13% of GDP just for climate change. So if we discuss the cost of mitigation, we always have to compare it with the cost of inaction. And here, I want to show you some insights from a recent IRENA report. They looked at the 1.5 degree scenario, and they said, to achieve this, we need to invest 50% more. Instead of 103 trillion until 2050, the world will need to invest 150 trillion. Yes, this is a lot of money, but as you see on the right, our economies will grow. We will have 2.4% more growth now for the coming 7 years, and that's a benefit for our contemporary societies. We will have larger growth in 2040 until 2050. So this is really not just cost to avoid climate change impact, this is an investment for a better livelihood in society today and in the future. Here, just to give you some figures, IRENA calculated that overall GDP growth will be in the range of 1.5%, 1.7% more of employment, mainly in renewable sectors, biomass, forestry. The only sector that has to lose is obviously the fossil sector, where we have some loss of employment, but largely compensated by the renewable sectors. A last word on climate finance, which is the topic that we are discussing here. We always have to understand that climate finance is just a tool. This is not the end. We should discuss climate investment. How can we mobilize the investments that you need in your countries to make use of the natural resources that you have to generate employment for your societies? Today we know that the standard capital market does not finance these, often because your regulatory environment has a problem. In Brazil, we talk about the Brazilian cost, which are the inefficiencies of regulations, of legislation. So first and foremost, you need to work on developing a sound enabling environment so that investors do not face risks. This will reduce the capital cost, and all investments and the products and services that they will provide will be cheaper to your society. Once this is done, then you can work with climate finance, either concessional, so grants, or results-based finance. What is results-based finance? You only pay once the environmental good is delivered. Or you use carbon markets in order to make sure that people that reduce emissions are rewarded, people that emit are penalized. So the point that I wanted to make here is that climate finance is an essential element, but it's only one element in your toolbox. And the most important element is that you have the right enabling environment to promote investments. With that, I come to my concluding remarks. I wanted to highlight that the incumbent fossil-based and linear economy promotes negative externalities such as climate change and the concentration of wealth at the expense of common goods. So what we discuss here is not just a solution for climate change, it is also a solution for a better and more inclusive economy. To do that, we need well-designed policies that use the development of renewable energy, climate-smart agriculture and forestry, and the resource-efficient circular economy to the benefit of your countries and of the global economy as a whole. We need also to build global standards. If we want to have competitive and green economies, we need to play on a globally level playing field. So we all together need to have common standards to avoid protectionism, amplify trade of green products in a way that optimizes costs and benefits of a global level. I know that countries often have the diplomatic position of first caring for their own populations, but unfortunately or fortunately, we are living on a global planet and we will all endure the benefits but also the costs of our global actions. Final comment, financial capital is available at sufficient scale at low cost to do anything that you want to do if you have a sound regulatory environment for the development of such green and competitive industries. So that, I think, should be the focus of your work. Finally, yes, building such a global economy is an imperative, but it's an opportunity for equitable prosperity and peace for future generations. Working towards those goals requires constant progress of designing, evaluating, and optimizing regulations. We will do a lot of mistakes. These are new policies that we have to analyze, we have to reflect, we have to improve. And I think this is exactly the role of Supreme Audit Institutions. You have a singular role and opportunity to monitor and optimize policy development with such a long-term perspective at national and multilateral level. With that, I'd like to thank you for this invitation, for this opportunity. The E+ Institute and many other think tanks stand ready to support you with further discussions. Thank you.
Before we proceed to present the SAI20 Communique 2024, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Philip Hauser for providing us with a forward-looking perspective. It is through collaborative efforts like these that we are able to navigate the complex landscape of our times. Mr. Hauser will have to leave us now for other commitments in Brazil, and please feel free to leave, and thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, dear colleagues, without further ado, let me present to you the SAI20 Communique 2024. Today, we gather to present the culmination of our collective efforts, the SAI20 Communique, and this document stands as a testament to our commitment with the G20 and the broader INTOSAI community. The SAI20 Communique is not merely a report. It is a powerful declaration that echoes our expertise and dedication to shaping sustainable progress. Through this communique, we reaffirm our vital role in addressing pressing global challenges. The construction of the SAI20 communique was a collaborative effort of unprecedented scale. From the initial proposal of themes by SAI Brazil to the drafting process, every step was marked by diligence, expertise, and commitment to excellence. Our recent preparatory Senior Officials Meeting last April in Brasilia served as a significant milestone in this journey. Our discussions underscored the urgency of addressing climate-related challenges, particularly in energy systems. In the SAI20 communique, we present a series of recommendations to G20 leaders. These recommendations emphasize the indispensable role of SAIs in promoting transparent and accountable governance, as well as sustainable development. We firmly believe that our expertise is central to achieving progress in the Sustainable Development Goals. In Recommendation 1, we emphasize the critical importance of effective strategies, funding mechanisms, investment conditions, and transparent decision-making processes in achieving sustainable outcomes. Transparent decision-making processes are essential for fostering public trust and confidence in governmental actions. Recommendation 2 underscores the vital role of SAIs in driving sustainable development. Our role is not peripheral. It is central and indispensable. We do not merely assist or cooperate. We lead and connect effective governance to lasting, sustainable outcomes. This is a resounding message we want the G20 leaders to fully grasp. We stand ready to lead, equipped with the tools, evidence, and expertise needed to make a profound impact. Ladies and gentlemen, the significance of this document cannot be overstated. It reflects our foresight on the themes of SAI20 this year: climate financing, energy transitions, and poverty alleviation. But it also sets the stage for future work of SAIs worldwide. As we move forward, I'm pleased to announce that we have a draft work plan for the second semester. This plan aims to carry forward the momentum generated by the 2024 communique and foster continued discussions within the INTOSAI community. The Group of 20 is composed of the world's most influential and largest economies. Yet, even with their colossal power, the G20 nations can't tackle global challenges alone. They need SAIs to ensure accountability, making sure that promises are kept, resources are allocated wisely, and actions speak louder than words. Dear colleagues, let us be overwhelmed by challenges ahead. Yes, they are significant and deeply rooted in our societies and environments, but history proves that we excel in times of difficulty. Without our combined skills and determination, with our combined skills and determinations, we can overcome any challenge in our way. Together, we will tackle this challenge and make a lasting impact, shaping a fairer and more sustainable world for generations to come. Thank you very much. Let us now proceed to the formal adoption of the communique. As per the rules of procedure, decisions will be made by consensus among participating members, SAIs only. If a decision cannot be reached immediately, pending matters will be circulated to all participating delegations for further consideration. Before we proceed, I want to share with you two video statements, one from Dmitry Zaistev, member of the board from SAI Russia, and one from First President Madame Zineb El Adoui from SAI Morocco. Please show the videos.
Particularly with regard to the development of common international criteria and indicators of the effectiveness of the use of public funds for sustainable development, reflect the approaches of the Council Chamber of the Russian Federation. In this regard, I would like once again to draw your attention to the importance of an open sharing of knowledge and best practices, including the use of new technologies. A possible solution could be the synergy of approaches, experience and resource of SAI20, SAI, and its regional organizations, working groups, as well as other organizations and partners. Finally, it is crucial to use new technologies such as digital platforms for the purpose of open exchange of experience and best practices, including on the topics of sustainable development knowledge, climate
Buffalo, may cancel yung chantage. Maninzu si Puyo na si Koso ko bili so faka.
I wish you dear colleagues productive work. Dear colleagues,
Now the video from SAI Morocco.
الرحيم. معالي الوزير السيد برونو دونتاس رئيس محكمة الحسابات الاتحادية لجمهورية البرازيل رئيس قمة العشرين، أصحاب المعالي رؤساء الأجهزة أعضاء قمة العشرين، أصحاب المعالي رؤساء الأجهزة الضيوف والأجهزة المدعوة، السادة والسيدات أعضاء. أود بداية أن أتوجه لفخامة السيد الرئيس بالشكر الجزيل على الدعوة الكريمة لأشغال هذا الحدث الهام، هذا الحدث الذي يشكل بالنسبة لنا جميعاً فرصة لاستلهام وتثمين ما تنتجه أجهزتنا العليا أعضاء مجموعة العشرين من أفكار واستشرافات. أود أن أهنئه على وجاهة اختيار مواضيع قمة هذه السنة، هذه المواضيع التي لم يعد التقدم فيها خياراً بل مساراً كونياً حتمياً قصد تحقيق بعض أهداف وغايات أجندة 2030 للتنمية المستدامة. في هذا السياق تحتاج منظومة التدبير العمومي وحكامة القطاع العام للمزيد من المواكبة الاستراتيجية، للمزيد من المهنية، تحتاج للثقة وللمصداقية. هذه القيم التي يشكلها صوت أجهزتنا العليا للرقابة، هذه الأجهزة يجب أن تستحضر أعمالها الأبعاد الاستراتيجية للإشكاليات القائمة، وأن تسعى لتكون سنداً مهنياً موضوعياً للحكومات لحل هذه الإشكاليات. ينبغي التأكيد في هذا الشأن.
Success of SAIs in their missions.
أجهزتنا في مهامها المرتبطة
In relation to climate, finance, and
محاربة الفقر لا يقتصر على إحداث الفارق في حياة المواطنين وتعزيز العدالة الاجتماعية والاقتصادية والمناخية بين الأجيال فقط، لكن يتجاوز ذلك بتعزيز استدامة التوازنات الأساسية للمالية العمومية وإنهاء مظاهر العنف الاقتصادي المهددة لاستقرار الدول بكل أبعاده. فكما قال مهاتما غاندي بكل حكمة ووقار: يظل الفقر أسوأ أنواع العنف أو أشكال العنف. في هذا الإطار يحرص المجلس الأعلى للحسابات للمملكة المغربية على أن تواكب أعماله الرقابية كل الأوراش والبرامج الاستراتيجية لرؤية الدولة الاجتماعية الحديثة. يحرص أيضاً على تجويد مسارات صياغة وتنفيذ وتتبع المخططات الطاقية وملائمتها مع الخصوصيات الوطنية. وإذا كانت التحديات المرتبطة بالتمويل المناخي والانتقال الطاقي ومحاربة الفقر والجوع تحديات تواجه المجتمع الدولي، فإن الاستجابة للانتظارات التي تقع على عاتقنا كأجهزة عليا للرقابة كمجتمع مهني تتطلب منا المزيد من العمل الجماعي والمساندة والتعاضد المهنيين وتقاسم التجارب الفضلى حتى نوفر أجوبة مشتركة فعالة للأسئلة والتحديات المشتركة التي تواجهها مجتمعاتنا. ولا يسعني في هذا الشأن إلا أن أعرب لكم زميلاتي وزملائي الأعزاء عن التزام الجهاز الأعلى للرقابة بالمملكة المغربية بمبادئ مجموعة العشرين، وبالمضي قدما في التعاون البناء بما يخدم الرقابة العليا في قيمها العميقة وأهدافها النبيلة، وكذا في أشكالها المتجددة. أجدد الشكر لكم معالي السيد وزير رئيس القمة على سعيكم الدائم لرفع التحديات، وأتمنى لأشغال هذه القمة الملهمة كامل النجاح والتوفيق. كما لا تفوتني الفرصة لأهنئ زملائي الرؤساء الحاضرين من الدول الإسلامية بعيد الأضحى المبارك، أعاده الله على البشرية جمعاء بالسلم واليمن والخير، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Madam President from SAI Morocco was keenly looking forward to visiting Belém, but was unable to arrange her travel due to the commemoration of Eid al-Adha. As we acknowledge this festive period, I would like to reiterate our most heartfelt wishes of Eid Mubarak to our colleagues in Morocco and to everyone celebrating here in person with us. May this Eid bring joy, peace, and prosperity to all. I am also pleased to acknowledge receipt of a supportive letter from President Moscovici of the French Cour des Comptes celebrating the outstanding collaboration between our institutions, and this recognition brings me particular satisfaction. Furthermore, I am grateful for the warm endorsement extended by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Juan Manuel Olmos, the Auditor General of SAI Argentina. His enthusiastic support, más enfático apoyo, what means the most strong support for the SAI20 communique, resonates deeply, amplifying the global voice of INTOSAI. Additionally, I'm delighted to note that the leaders of SAI Turkey and SAI Mexico have endorsed our communique despite their inability to join us in person here in Belém. I would also like to thank the guests and invited SAIs for your invaluable support and contributions. It is important that the message of our communique echoes not only the voice of the SAI20 members, but also the larger INTOSAI community, including the small and medium-sized economies. I thank the SAIs of Angola, Azerbaijan, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ecuador, Guinea-Bissau, the Maldives, Poland, Portugal, and São Tomé and Príncipe for taking part in this meeting and important exchange. I count on you to take this message forward, apply it to your work, and contribute to the INTOSAI discussions. I will now call upon each SAI20 member country in alphabetical order to express agreement, and let us ensure that we reach a consensus reflecting our unity and shared goals. If you agree, please verbally express your approval by stating, "We agree." I call SAI China, Mr. Wang Benqiang.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We agree with this document and please accept our congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Benqiang. Now I call SAI Germany, Mr. Bernhard Ehrmann.
Distinguished Chair, for the German SAI, I would like to adopt the communique. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now SAI India, Mr. Girish Chandra Murmu.
Thank you, Chair. We compliment and agree with the communique. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now SAI Indonesia, Ms. Isma Yatun.
Thank you, Chair. SAI Indonesia do agree to the SAI20 Communique 2024 that was just summarized well by the Chair of SAI20 2024 Ministry, Bruno Dantas. I thank you and TCU colleagues who have prepared and finalized the 2024 SAI20 Communique. Congratulations for this achievement, and I look forward to hearing the SAI20 communique brought forward to the G20 leaders at the G20 Summit in November 2024. And especially for you, Madam Sakani, we're looking forward to meeting you in South Africa next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, SAI Republic of Korea, Mr. Jae-hai Che.
Thank you, Chair. I fully support the communique. Yeah. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, SAI Saudi Arabia, His Excellency Dr. Hussam Alangari.
Thank you, Chair. We, as the General Court of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, agree and support the adoption of the communique, and we would like to thank you and congratulate you for the successful achievement of this event, and look forward to meeting again next year in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, SAI South Africa, Ms. Tsakani Maluleke.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We confirm that we agree to the adoption of the declaration as it stands, and we support the initiatives that have been set out therein. Thank you.
We have a consensus. Thank you all, the member and participating countries, for their participation and collaboration. The communique was truly crafted by many hands, all of us together. With the consensus of all member countries, the SAI20 Communique 2024 is hereby adopted.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask the heads of the SAI20 member countries to join us for an official photo here in the front of the stage. The heads of the member countries.
A gente tirar uma foto para dar. Depois a gente tira só um com os outros ou chama os outros certos? Os participantes. Tirar esse no chão. Não, só asiático. Não, no caso.
Brasil. Mesmo Argentina, cadê? Ah, muito fazido. Daquele que é de direita. I ask you,
Please stay here in the photo. I now ask for the heads of the participating, invited and guest SAIs also to join the photo. The heads of all the Supreme Audit Institutions present here, please join the photo. Heads of delegations of all the SAIs. It's getting excited.
Do you have all photos? All photo on the TCU website. At the website? Yes, TCU. Ah, yeah. Come.
Samuel conseguiu?
Ah, yeah. First day, second day. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We now have a coffee break. We'll return in 10 minutes.
Vamos ver aqui, quantos minutos? 32 minutos. Vamos confirmar, porque tem que ser uma nota a ser assinada pelo presidente. Era até dia 21. Onde o problema é esse? Caos como é que usar esse protocolo? Olha aqui já. Quem? Bruno. Ainda tem trabalho ainda, né? Ah, café. Dá para fotos. Gogos. Esse que não terá assim. Esse que pode. Mas usar a baixa. Não tem encaminhado.
Tem isso também.
Dear colleagues, as we continue our deliberations, we now turn our attention to exploring the synergies between SAI20 and INTOSAI. This session will shed light on the collaborative potential between these two esteemed organizations, highlighting shared objectives and mutual support. I will invite His Excellency, Councillor Hesham Badawi, to deliver his speech as the first Vice Chair of INTOSAI. Mr. Badawi, the floor is yours.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. معالي الدكتور برونو دانتس رئيس الجهاز الأعلى للرقابة للبرازيل، رئيس الانتوساي، أصحاب المعالي رؤساء الأجهزة العليا للرقابة، السيدات والسادة الحضور، تحياتي إلى حضراتكم جميعا وطاب صباحكم بالخير. في بادرة مقدرة من صديقي معالي الوزير برونو دانتس، تلقيت إشعارا بإفراد هذه المساحة لي على أجندة أعمال هذه القمة للحديث عن أوجه التعاون بين مجموعة أجهزة الرقابة العشرين ومنظمة الانتوساي. في واقع الأمر أن الحديث حول هذا التعاون يكتسب أهمية بالغة في ضوء الدور الذي يمكن لمجموعة أجهزة الرقابة العشرين أن تقوم به كوسيط بين قادة الدول وحكومات المجموعة من جانب ومنظمة الانتوساي من جانب آخر. فهناك بغير شك منطقة اهتمام مشترك بين الجانبين فيما يتعلق بتحقيق الاستقرار الاقتصادي الدولي والنمو الثابت والمستدام وتحريك النظام المالي مع خفض معدل المخاطر ومنع وقوع الأزمات المالية، ومن هنا
On the other side, there is undoubtedly an area of common interest between the two parts in terms of reaching the stability, economic stability in terms of international or worldwide, and also sustainable one. In to face the financial system and reducing at the same time the risk coming from the financial crisis. Therefore, it's important to consider this cooperation to the level of the respective cooperation and to the mechanisms which were proposed. We should know the fact that all the members of SAI20 are involved in a way or another in the activities of the INTOSAI, as well as the members of INTOSAI. We are not a body that are separated of somehow. We have a collision, we have an agreement. The cooperation should be investigated to the level of goals and worries, common worries, as well as the creation of development of mechanisms to better the implementation of the goals. In this point of view, the G20 represents the greatest influences in the world for beyond its efforts, in the sense of maximizing the value of the benefits of the ODS of United Nations, and its great responsibility in the leadership and efforts to improve the control system to better also the support and the capacitation and development of standards and guidelines to better side development to the level of the constructions of the goals and challenges extended among SAI20 members and the various bodies involved in the structures of the organizations. INTOSAI includes in its organizational structure, the group of environmental, about ODS, and key indicators of sustainable development, besides the professional expertise of INTOSAI. Therefore, increasing the SAI20 in the process, it is a considerable contribution that can be done to the level of the reinforcement of the goals to the INTOSAI and to SAI20, specifically to this engagement is productive in terms of answers to the views points. There are many proposals that can be presented for discussion, including the releasing of a initiative which will be shared by the members of SAI20 and INTOSAI and the Committee of Capacitation and Knowledge, trying to reach the skills of the members of the auditing members and the ODS, besides exchanging data and guidelines, publications, and scientific research between the parties, taking into consideration the SAI20 agenda to the level of the key issues. Worried about the climate finance and energy transition, as well as combat the fight and hunger. The partnerships that include special tasks in financing of workshops and seminars, specialized, as well as tasks together with collaboration of the ODS, particularly of the ODS 16. I would like to use this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Hisham Badawi. Following our discussion on synergies, we are privileged to hear from the SAI20 Troika. Representatives from SAI India and SAI South Africa will share their perspectives on the importance of collaboration and continuity within the SAI20 community. First, I invite the Controller and Auditor General of SAI India, Mr. Girish Chandra Murmu, to deliver his final statement.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, namaste and greetings to all. Let me take this opportunity to thank and congratulate Minister Bruno Dantas for very successfully conducting this SAI20 Summit here. And also I thank him profusely to bring us to this city of Balim and to introduce us in this beautiful region, Brazil. Dear colleagues, as the curtain comes down on the third summit of SAI20, there is an air of satisfaction coupled with optimism. These past 2 days, we have delved into the intricate landscape of climate finance and the fight against poverty and hunger. We have shared insights born of experience, identified challenges and risks, and explored innovative solutions. In the process, we have recognized that our journey has just begun. At the very outset, we acknowledge the litany of woes that confound us, the devastating impact of climate change on vulnerable communities, persistent inequities that leave millions in poverty, inefficient allocation of resources, lack of transparency and accountability in financial flows, displacement loss caused by environmental degradation, barriers to education and health care perpetuating poverty, economic system prioritizing profit over people and planet, and sadly, insufficient international cooperation in addressing the global crisis. I cannot but help being reminded of the former UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon's observations. Saving our planet, lifting people out of poverty, advancing economic growth, these are one and the same fight. We must connect the dots between climate change, water scarcity, energy shortages, global health, food security, and women's empowerment. Solution to one problem must be solutions for all. Undoubtedly, the climate change impacts every aspect of life. It threatens existence. All global problems are linked with it, if not as cause and effect, most definitely an exacerbation of including fighting hunger and poverty. Climate finance connects the urgent need for climate action with the financial mechanism required to propel the action forward. It is a recognition of the fact that our responsibility to the environment extends beyond mere rhetoric and tangible financial commitments that pave the way for a resilient and sustainable future. Climate justice mandates that vulnerable countries receive the financial support and robust infrastructure needed to combat the far-reaching impacts of climate change. The insights and expertise of SAIs can ensure that funds are utilized efficiently, commitments are met, and transparency is upheld. Despite progress in the fundamental priority of fight against poverty and hunger, millions of people around the world still lack access to basic necessities such as food, clean water, and health care. The strong positive correlation between multidimensional poverty and climate change vulnerability cannot be disregarded. Poor and vulnerable people are developing countries carry the heaviest burden while being most ill-equipped to cope with and adapt. There is an urgent need for innovative solutions, and more so, the critical need for robust audit mechanism to ensure transparency, accountability, and the impact. For us, SAIs and the SAI20 Forum, we have responsibility towards meaningful audit of these areas that are crucial for global well-being and awareness of their complex nature, the trade-offs and opportunity cost is essential for successful audit. In our deliberations, we have articulated the crucial role SAIs have in ensuring governments implement their self-determined policies for addressing imminent global challenges in letter and spirit, adhering to prescribed milestones. By reporting on their audit findings and making practical recommendations for improvement, SAI output provides a basis for those charged with public sector governance to take corrective actions and thereby improve governance and management. We have recognized the importance of interdisciplinary approaches and the vital role of cooperation among the governments, international organizations, civil society, and the private sector. Climate change-related issues involve understanding scientific, economic, and policy aspects, necessitating collaboration with the experts from various fields. The integration of data from various sources is crucial for gaining a comprehensive understanding of environmental challenges. We have appreciated the need for mainstreaming climate consideration into poverty reduction strategies. By integrating climate resilience measures into poverty alleviation programs, governments can enhance the adaptive capacity of communities and reduce their vulnerability to climate-related shocks. As Supreme Audit Institutions, we must advocate for increased transparency, accountability, and effectiveness in the allocation of and utilization of climate finance. The impacts of climate change on vulnerable populations need to be mitigated through greater investment in adaptation finance. Furthermore, SAIs need to emphasize the importance of ensuring that climate finance is channeled and efficiently to where it is most needed, and that it is aligned with the national climate priorities and objectives. SAIs play a crucial role in auditing climate finance mechanisms to ensure that they are delivering the intended results and the funds are not being misappropriated or mismanaged. While assessing the national climate action, SAI faces multiple challenges, such as lack of conceptual clarity, data gaps, and incomplete records. Unfortunately, there is no universally acceptable concept of climate finance. It is international funding provided by developed to developing countries Is it a new and additional or incremental addition to developmental assistance? Or like in India, does it also relate to use of climate finance for technology development, capacity building, and cross-cutting support? All this leading to heterogeneous, dispersed source of climate finance. How do we determine the quantum of climate finance and its distribution? Then how do we assess its impact and outcome in the absence of systematic reporting and tracking? Political and governance issues also pose obstacles to effective measurement, reporting, and verification. Transitioning to low-carbon energy system is essential for mitigating climate change and achieving sustainable development goals. SAIs can play a crucial role in assessing effectiveness of energy transition strategies, particularly in the context of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting renewable energy adoption. Through audits and assessments, SAIs can highlight the importance of targeted climate finance interventions, the prioritized needs of vulnerable population. At SAI India, we had established in 1986 a dedicated office for auditing scientific and environmental ministries. Some of our recent audits in the field include compliance audit on compensatory afforestation in India, performance audit on the renewable energy sector in India, environmental clearance and post-clearance monitoring, groundwater management and regulation, and conservation of the coastal ecosystem. As a member of the governance team of the Climate Scanner project of the WGA, SAI India actively participated in the development of Climate Scanner rapid review tools. We also undertook a pilot study to test tools and provide feedback and suggestions for further improvement. As we move forward, I urge SAIs to recognize the urgency of the climate crisis and to work collaboratively towards achieving the climate change mitigation goals. Audit is not just a reflection of past performance, but a roadmap for future success. By integrating the insights and suggestions derived from the audit of climate change initiative, there is an upbeat expectation that SAIs will play a significant role in advancing battle against climate change. Moreover, poverty and hunger cannot be tackled by one-size-fits-all policies. They require target intervention, considering the population group, gender, ethnicity, social status, regional groupings, while assessing the effectiveness of government policies and programs aimed to combat hunger, poverty, and climate change. SAIs must factor in the need for disaggregation. As SAIs, we recognize measurement is the key. What is measured can be improved. Our audits must be increasingly data-driven, utilizing technology and analytics. These will lead to more practical and powerful recommendations leading to transformative ideas which governments can leverage. At SAIs India, we have our Center for Data Management and Analytics enabling us to plan and execute our audits with greater assurance. In the spirit of cooperation and collaboration, let us strengthen partnerships, sharing knowledge and expertise to create a more equitable, sustainable future. Through rigorous audits and transparent reporting, we can build trust and ensure climate finance reaches those most in need. By encouraging innovative solutions and adaptive strategies, we can better address the complex challenges of climate change and poverty. Together, we can transform our commitment into actions, ensuring that our efforts lead to real and lasting change. Addressing hunger, poverty, and climate change requires comprehensive strategies, policies, and investment that prioritize sustainable development and resilience building efforts to ensure more equitable and prosperous future for all. We must emphasize to the G20 leaders the need for conceptual clarity and measures such as tagged climate budgeting, resources for both climate adaptation and climate mitigation measures, the cross-cutting, global nature of our two themes, adoption of whole of society policies, collection of reliable data, and capacity building. As I stated yesterday, the Troika enables continuity in SAI20's determined efforts to collaborate and add value in contending with global challenges. Our assessment and specific recommendations are an extremely useful value addition for mankind. Before I conclude, I take this opportunity to once again thanks SAI Brazil for their warm hospitality, very importantly for an extremely stimulating, animated, impactful SAI20 Summit. I assure SAI South Africa of our commitment and supporting in taking SAI20 to greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Girish Murmu. And finally, I ask Her Excellency Ms. Tsakani Maluleke, the upcoming SAI20 Chair, to take the floor.
Thank you very much, President, and I'd want to greet the excellencies that are in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, a good morning to you. As we prepare to depart from this momentous gathering, I urge you to reflect on the immense value that has starting with the president of SAI20, Minister Dantas. You have indeed taken on this baton with enormous success. Big shoes to fill. But you've built on the success of those that came before you, those from SAI India and SAI Indonesia. My sincere appreciation for your warm welcoming in Belém and the unique and homely hospitality that truly speaks to the heart. For the rest of your team, from the organizers to the speakers to the attendees, each and every one of you has played a vital role in shaping the success of this gathering. SAI South Africa stands ready to take over the baton from the Federal Court of Accounts, the TCU, or SAI Brazil, at the end of this year. As the National Audit Office of South Africa, our proud Rainbow Nation, we look forward to hosting you next year, and we are excited to share with you the beauty of our country with its diverse wildlife, from majestic lions to graceful giraffes, creating a breathtaking tapestry of nature, not forgetting the stunning coastline fringed by azure waters and rugged cliffs. As we bid farewell to this SAI20 Summit, let us carry with us the lessons that we've learned, the connections that we've made, and the memories that we've created. Let us continue to nurture the seeds of inspiration that have been planted here, cultivating them into meaningful insights to illuminate understanding of the key actions that our respective governments must take to improve the lived experiences of their citizens in a balanced way, in a sustainable way, so that we can leave a planet worth leaving to our children. In closing, I wish to express my deepest appreciation to all of you for your unwavering support, your enduring enthusiasm, and your boundless willingness to share your experiences in the SAI community. Indeed, mutual experience does benefit all. This SAI20 Summit has been a true testament to the incredible things that can be achieved when like-minded institutions and individuals dare to come together with a shared purpose. Thank you, and may the spirit of collaboration and of courageous innovation that has been so visible in the past few days continue to guide us and to inspire each of us towards the future we all want. Allow me to close with a quote from our founding father of our democracy in South Africa, Tata Nelson Mandela, for he said, and I quote, "Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice." Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sakani. Thank you very much for your words. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude the SAI20 Summit here in Belém, Brazil, I stand before you with a profound sense of accomplishment and optimism. Over the past few days, we have engaged in crucial discussions, shared innovative ideas, and forged a path forward that aligns with our vision of a just and sustainable planet. I am particularly proud to highlight the adoption of the official 2024 SAI20 communique, a document that will be presented to the G20 Sherpas, and together with your voice united and strong, we now hold a significant presence and responsibility in the global dialogue, influencing policies and actions that will shape the future of our planet. Yesterday, Dr. Thelma Krug underscored how the Paris Agreement implicitly acknowledged the vital role of Supreme Audit Institutions in assessing and disseminating information on policies and public organizational performance. This recognition emphasized the agreement's focus on fostering public engagement to enhance governmental efficiency, transparency, and accountability, thereby promoting inclusive and democratic governance. As SAIs, this underscores a critical link we must reaffirm and strengthen. Looking ahead to COP29 and COP30, our role as central actors in achieving the objective of the Paris Agreement becomes increasingly vital. For now, to ensure that our message resonates with G20 leaders, I am reaching out with a special request. As the head of your SAI, I kindly urge you to engage with the G20 Sherpa of your respective country to advocate for our cause. On July the 4th, I will have the opportunity to present our pledge in person to the G20 Sherpas in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Your advocacy beforehand would greatly enhance their understanding and support for our initiatives. I extend my deepest gratitude to all of you. Your dedication, your expertise, and your hard work have been instrumental in the success of this summit. As we return to our countries, let us carry with us the spirit of that what we have accomplished here in Belém. Let us continue to work tirelessly towards our common goals, upholding the principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance. The road ahead is challenging, but together we can build a future that is fair, sustainable, and dignified for all. We will now show a short video to conclude the summit, and thank you all for your presence and your collaboration here. Have a safe trip back. Enjoy Belém for the next hours, and see you in South Africa 2025. Thank you so much.